Muy buenos días. Continuamos con las actividades en el marco del Primer Festival Internacional de la Facultad de Contaduría y Administración. En esta mañana modera la conferencia la coordinadora de promoción editorial de la Secretaría de Divulgación y Fomento Editorial, la maestra Jennifer Elaine Esquivel Valdelpeña y López. Adelante, maestra.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great morning, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you guys in this first International Festival of Faculty of Accountancy and Management, made in the highest house of study in our country, the National Autonomous University of Mexico. We have now the conference collaboration possibilities in Central Europe, the case of the University of Groningen by Dr. Elmer Sterken. Now, I will read his semblance so you know him better. Elmer Sterken, professor of monetary economics and the Faculty of Economics and Business of the University of Groningen. He has a master's in econometrics and a PhD in economics. His main field of academic interest is monetary theory and policy, business cycles, and private investment. Besides his professorship, he is a specialist advisor to the university board with a main focus on internationalization. Currently, he teaches microeconomics in the master program, sports economics in the bachelor program, and he advises master and PhD students. Definitely, he is a specialist on this subject. And remember, guys, that if you have any questions, send it to the chat on their username question, and you can write your contributions there, and then at the end of the Dr. Sterken participation, I will share them. We are so lucky to have you here with us, Dr. Sterken. Welcome, even in a virtual way, to Mexico. Please, Doctor, we listen to you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for your kind introduction. And good morning to all of you. Good afternoon for me. It's about 3 o'clock now here in Europe, in continental Europe. And it must be very early for you. So, but again, welcome. And thank you so much for offering me the opportunity to say a few words about our university, University of Groningen. Which I will explain in a bit more detail in the upcoming minutes. And I would also like to say a few words about my own faculty of economics and business, and maybe pay some special attention to the business programs. And I also want to talk a bit about the PhD opportunities that we offer at the University of Groningen. So please allow me, I would like to share my screen with you so I can talk from a presentation. And so I will give it a try and then ask you whether it works. So hopefully I can share my screen. And then can you see it?
Yes, Doctor.
Thank you so much. So my name is Elmer Sterken. Like Jennifer explained, I'm a professor of economics, but I've been in university administration for a while. And actually, I've visited UNAM, I think maybe at least 4 times in my life. So I know at least the campus in Mexico City. And I can even prove that in one of my upcoming slides where I have some photos. I can show you some pictures where indeed you can see me being at UNAM in Mexico. So I now also take the opportunity to address the long-term relationship our 2 universities have. So let me repeat, I'm at the University of Groningen in the Netherlands. The Netherlands being a small European country, only 17 million people, not 70, but 17 million people. It's located in the northwestern part of continental Europe. Our neighboring countries are, for instance, Germany and Belgium. And if you think about the Netherlands being a small country, Groningen is the most northern city in the Netherlands. So A close neighbor city to us, basically, is the German city of Hamburg, which is in northern Germany. So you know a bit about the location of the city. So if I can introduce our university for a minute, then the city of Groningen is a typical Dutch city, I would say, or maybe continental European city. We only have 200,000 inhabitants, so that's incomparable to Mexico City, of course, in terms of size. But relative to the number of people living in the city of Groningen, we have a lot of students. So the University of Groningen, my university, has 35,000 students. And we also have a kind of polytechnic university in town. So that means that about 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 inhabitants is a student in the city. And you can notice it's really a student town. So students are overrepresented in the population. And out of those 35,000 students, almost a quarter is non-Dutch. So it's a very international community. We have a lot of foreign students coming to our university. If you think about our graduate work, then we have about 500 to 600 PhD graduations per year, which is quite a lot. And I will come back to that in a minute. If you think about the quality of the university, we tend to look at what you would call rankings. So I list here 2, the Times Higher Education Ranking and the Shanghai ARWU. So you can see the positions of the University of Groningen on those rankings, being 80 on the Times Higher Education, the last edition, and 69 on the Shanghai ranking. So we're typically a top 100 university in terms of research performance and educational quality. So it's we think that we're doing a great job at our university. And that also is illustrated by the fact that we had a Nobel Prize winning professor in chemistry 5 years ago, being Ben Veringa. And so we are very proud of that, of course, that you have a Nobel Prize winner among one of your professors. So we are kind of research intensive, old, traditional, comprehensive university. If you look at my background, you can see our main building, which is about 100 years old, a bit more than 100 years old. And that gives you a kind of impression. It's a kind of continental European university being in a cozy city. We teach a lot actually in English. So more than half of our undergraduate bachelor teaching is in English. And maybe 80 to 90% of all our master and of course PhD programs is taught in English. The university consists of 11 different faculties. And I'm from the Faculty of Economics and Business, and I will talk a bit about that in a few minutes in a bit more detail. But we have many more faculties like science and engineering, like medical, like law, like social sciences, like arts and humanities, theology and religious studies, economic geography. So we have a lot of, it's really a comprehensive university. You can basically do and study all fields at Groningen. So again, this is a picture of before our main building. So this is the same building that you see at the back of my interior now. And as you can see, that's also typical Dutch. In front of our main building, all the students tend to park their bikes. And the bike is the main means of transportation for students in our city. So I think we have 2 times the number of bikes as compared to the number of inhabitants in the city of Groningen. So each inhabitant of Groningen basically owns 2 bicycles on average. And that means that students, it's a very popular means of transportation for students, and you just park your bike in front of the main building. Maybe it's good, I said before that our university is very international, being, let's say, having 25% of the students coming from non-Dutch origin. So in terms of internationalization, we are very open. But as Jennifer told in her introduction, I'm also working for the university to stimulate internationalization. And there we really want to try to focus on specific relationships that we have. And I'm very proud that the relationship that we have with UNAM is lasting already for a long time. So we basically have the strategy that we like to increase the activity with existing long-term relationships with all our partners. And that applies to, let's say, the exchange of students, the exchange of PhDs, the joint applications for programs, the design of new virtual or blended mobility programs. And you can see the list here. So basically our strategy is that we try to work strongly together with the entrusted partners that we have. And here you can see, of course, we have a lot of collaborations inside of Europe, but here what on this graph, on this plot of the world, you can see a bit of our, let's say, long-term relationships with non-European universities that we have. And basically we have what we call 9 strategic partners across the world. And of course, UNAM is one of those. And I'll come back to that in a minute. So UNAM is one of our long-lasting and trusted partner outside of Europe, and we really value that long-term relationship. And here you can see some of the others. So in Latin America, we have other partners, for instance, the University of Sao Paulo, the University of Antioquia in Colombia, and the University of Chile at Santiago. And you can see also for Asia and Australasia, which university we have relationships over there. So just to give you an impression of how we like to work together with our international partners. And maybe I can say a few words about the long-run relationship that we have between the UNAM and the University of Groningen, a real history of collaboration. So here you can see, basically, if I go back in history, I think I can even go back to the 1970s, where our professors in astronomy started to collaborate, I think especially on the infrastructures that they used to operate, of course, in Mexico and across the globe. And I think out of that collaboration in astronomy and also nuclear physics, you can see here a whole trajectory of facts that we basically, that the universities, the UNAM and the University of Groningen have jointly accepted. And it ends at the end in 2019, even at the opening of an office of the University of Groningen at the UNAM campus. And here you can see on the upper right-hand corner, you can see a photo. Actually, that's me with Professor Trigo from your administration, opening this office and shaking hands with Rector Grauwe even. So that dates back from 2019. So since 2019, also the University of Groningen has established a kind of physical office at UNAM to support the collaboration between our two institutions. I must say that I have very good memories going back to 2019, to being again at UNAM and to open this office and to meet Rector Grauwe for another time. And there's really, let me stress that, a close friendship between the two universities. So also in one of those days, we envisioned that we could collaborate in a form of a kind of strategy or agenda, as you would like, no matter what you would like to call it. And here you can see that these are kind of buzzwords that we use in that strategy. So we talked about joint educational innovation. We talked about the double degree PhD programs that we run together. There's a sustainability center at UNAM, at the UNAM campus, and we also work at sustainability at Groningen. So we also address that topic. And of course, we talked about how to fund all the joint exercises. But in the center, of course, is our joint interest in research and education. So here you can see the photo of Luis Andres, who is running currently our joint office, the office of the University of Groningen at UNAM. And probably you know him. And I think Luis Andres is planning to visit next week Groningen to also meet our people. I think he started during the COVID period, so it will be his first time at Groningen, I think, in his official role as director of the UG office at UNAM. And the goals are, of course, to provide not only, let's say, students coming from Groningen to UNAM, but also vice versa. If UNAM students are interested in the Groningen programs, the Luis Andres can help and can give advice. And for us, it's a kind of role model how we also would like to collaborate with the other partners that I just showed you across the globe. So those were my introductory remarks about the relationship between our two universities. And now let me maybe further say a few words about my own faculty, the Faculty of Economics and Business, and then I will pay especially attention to some of the business programs that we run. And then I would like, after I finish my discussion about the Economics and Business faculty, then I will say a few words again about our PhD program, and maybe some of you are interested in that. Yeah. So the Faculty of Economics and Business, it's the largest faculty actually at Groningen in terms of student numbers. So there are about 8,000 students in economics and business at Groningen. And about 2/3 of those students is in business and 1/3 is in economics. And I will explain a bit later what that means in terms of programs. And especially the business section of the faculty is quite well known, and they rank at about position 37 or so in some of the world rankings in business administration. So it's quite a strong department in terms of quality of education and research. Actually, Groningen is not that big and certainly not incomparable to Mexico City, but the location of the faculty is on our campus. So we have a down city site in the downtown area. We have a university hospital in the downtown area, but we also have a campus in the northern part of Groningen, and that's the place where the Faculty of Economics and Business is located. I'm not going to discuss in detail our bachelor programs. Those are maybe not so interesting to you, but I just want to mention that you get a flavor of the structure of the faculty. So we run basically one program in Dutch, which is in business administration for undergraduate students. And then we run a program in international business. So that means that's business studies focused on location and trade, geography, multinational law, so it has an international flavor. And besides of that, so that's our main business undergraduate program. And besides, we have a program in econometrics and operations research, which is much smaller, and a program in economics and business economics. So those are the four, let's say, general start programs if you become a student in Groningen, if you're just leaving secondary school. So these are full-time 3-year programs. And the size of those programs is about, let's say around 500 to 600, but sometimes 700 students for the business administration programs, and a bit smaller for the econometrics program. And also in economics and business economics, we have about 500 students per year. So that gives you a kind of impression of the undergraduate structure. And in the master program, and I listed here only the business programs, we offer much more. So the way the university works is that you have a kind of broad general bachelor programs, and those are followed by more focused master programs. So here you can see some of the programs that we run in the field of business or business economics or related issues. So that runs from indeed accountants, what we call accounting and controlling. So that's a program very much focused on, setting the accounts of firms and organizations. We have a general MBA where you can choose among different tracks like change management, health issues, small business and entrepreneurship, and innovation. Then we run a program, and that's actually a large program in finance, where you can do financial management, but you can also do asset pricing and corporate finance, for instance. And then we have a program in what we call human resource management. That's basically focused on organizational psychology. So that has a kind of flavor of social science in it, sociology, social psychology, organizational psychology is relevant to that program. And then we have programs in international business management, international financial management. There's a large program in marketing. So that includes marketing management, but also what I call marketing research or data analytics. And we run programs in what we call operations. So that those programs focus on supply chains, logistics, and it's more a kind of engineering type of program in business studies. So this gives you a kind of overview of the orientation of master programs at our faculty. And if you think about the size of those programs, they can vary. So these can be programs, master programs running maybe 200 to 300 students, but some of them will be smaller, with maybe about 50 to 60 students. So that gives you an impression of the size. And besides that, we offer what we call minor programs, so 1 semester programs for students who would like to do a kind of exchange or a short run experience at our university. So here I listed a few. So these focus on courses in entrepreneurship or innovation and entrepreneurship, or we have a special attention for energy. And we're also working now currently on programs in healthcare and healthcare management and health economics. So basically the general themes of health and energy are quite crucial to the university. So we try to offer more programs in those two fields, health and energy, which are really, part of the UN Sustainable Development Goals and quite central to societal developments. And here, I'm happy to leave the presentation afterwards. Here you can find some websites where you can find more information about the programs that we run at the university and at the Faculty of Economics and Business. And then I come to my the third and last part of my presentation, and I will introduce shortly what we do in our PhD programs. So now I'm going to talk again about the university as a whole, not specifically about economics and business, but for the University of Groningen as a whole. Actually, within the Netherlands, the University of Groningen is one of the largest, and actually I think last year we were the largest university in terms of, let's say, numbers of successful PhD graduations. So we have a lot of PhD students at the University of Groningen. And you can say that about 1/3 of those students is in the medical fields. 1/3 is about in natural sciences and mathematics, and 1/3 is in social sciences and humanities. So we have 1/3 medical, 1/3 natural sciences, basically, and 1/3 in social sciences and humanities. So that's about the division of the PhDs at our universities. And maybe it's good to know that PhDs are really at the core. I sometimes tend to call it, they are the engine of the research programs that we run at Groningen. So they're really crucial. They really contribute to the research performance of the university. So they really carry out the heart of the research programs that are run at our institutes. And so that implies that we are quite demanding on the efforts and the objectives of PhDs, and that we really want to push them to the limits, where they really can, write articles as part of their thesis, and articles that can be accepted by professional journals and scientific journals in general. So that means that there is a lot of let me say, emphasis on the quality of the work that the PhDs do. So it's really important to us. And I think as a PhD student, you're also really a part of our academic community at Groningen. And just to illustrate this, how important, let's say, the international focus is of the university in terms of the quality of the work that we do. And that makes it also very, very good that we have international contacts and also foreign students coming to Groningen. And here you can see, so all these abbreviations refer to Dutch universities. Basically, those are abbreviations of the names of the Dutch universities. So you can see our university is abbreviated by RUG in the fourth line of this table. And here you can see, it's a measure of quality of scientific work. It's a kind of citation score that has been produced by a research institute at the University of Leiden in the Netherlands. And here you can see in the second column, you see which is due to basically to international cooperation. And the third column gives you a kind of national cooperation only. And the fourth column is if the research is performed without any cooperation. And here you can clearly see that the work that has been done in an international cooperation is by far more impactful than the work that has not been produced by international cooperation or even domestic cooperation. So and that applies certainly to our university. Here you can see the factor 1.66 for us in this table, which is clearly better than, let's say, the case of only national cooperation, which is 1.09. Yeah, so that gives you. But maybe it's good to say that the factor that you're looking at, that means the global average of let's say quality is about 1. So if you produce 1.5, you're doing about 50% better than the world average. Yeah. So here you can see that Groningen is performing better than the world average, but especially if it's coming from international cooperation. So that makes it again important to note that international cooperation is really at the heart of the University of Groningen. I'm almost to the end, so if you got lost already, I apologize for speaking so long, but when I talk about the university, I get a bit enthusiastic. So, but I'm close to the end. So if you can stay on for a few minutes more, then it will be great. So here you see a nice form of collaboration on the PhD level between our two universities, between UNAM and the University of Groningen. And let me take an example. So we call this sandwich PhDs. And it implies that the student takes a bit of the training for instance, at UNAM, and another part of the training at the University of Groningen, and gets a PhD degree from both institutions. So both from UNAM and from the University of Groningen. So that could imply that if you run a 4-year program, a PhD program, and you take 2 years at UNAM and 2 years at the University of Groningen, then you will end up with a degree from UNAM and the University of Groningen. And you can see the best of both worlds. You can meet people at UNAM, of course, and you can meet people at the University of Groningen in the same academic fields. So since we find international cooperation so important, the university also sponsors these kind of programs. So a general model normally is that a PhD student at UNAM gets funded at least part by CONACYT, the National Science Foundation, and then the University of Groningen will make sure that the financial conditions are such that the student has a good living at the let's say the stay during the stay at Groningen in the Netherlands. So the university will offer additional financial means to cover all the additional costs for being an inhabitant of Groningen in the Netherlands. So we will top up the UNAM students with a CONACYT grant to the norm that's applied to living in the Netherlands. And this is a great program, and many students from UNAM have followed this route and taking a double degree sandwich PhD model from UNAM at Groningen. And we really appreciate this model, and it's really I can really recommend that. So we have good contacts between our graduate schools, our graduate school in the medical sciences, our graduate school in natural sciences and social sciences and humanities with the corresponding graduate schools of UNAM. And so this is really, I really can advertise this idea. So that brings me almost to the end, and I would like to thank you for your kindness and your attention, and for allowing me to speak and do a little marketing for our University of Groningen in the Netherlands. And I really hope that I maybe can meet some of you in the near future coming to the Netherlands. At least I'm planning to come to UNAM again myself. Hopefully next February or March. So, and of course, then maybe we can organize a session that I can visit some of you, or maybe that we find a location where I can talk to some of you and give you even more information about the University of Groningen. So, Jennifer, let me leave it at that. And here you can see my email. So don't be shy, and please send me an email if you want more information. Or if you have questions right now, you can use the chat or whatever means and transfer the questions to Jennifer, I think. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Elmer Sterken. I am very surprised about how many opportunities we have to collaborate with the University of Groningen. And obviously, there are many questions in the chat about this topic. The first one is, within the strategies for the development of virtual learning activities, especially all the exchange that the global pandemic has brought us in travel restriction, do you plan to develop an only master's degree?
We're actually, that's a very good question and a very timely question, of course. And I can say that we have intensified our online facilities, like all universities across the globe have done, I think, in the last 1.5 years. And despite the fact that we always like that students can meet in a physical way, because we think that's important to learning, that people meet physically, I think more and more of the programs will at least be offered in a blended way, so that you can do part of the program online and part of them on campus. But I think evenly we think about opening up fully online programs. That will be one of the developments at our university, being either short-run programs or let's say master programs. But I have to be honest, we have no experience so far with fully online programs. So I know that, for instance, in the UK, you have many universities who offer many online programs, but so far we don't have any good experience with full online programs at Groningen. For instance, the examinations and the assessment of the quality of the students is typically a thing that you need to organize very well as a university. So, but we're working on it, and I expect that more and more programs will be offered online. But a very good question.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. The second question is, what is it like to live in Netherlands?
Yeah, that's also a very good question. I try to explain maybe a bit of the Dutch culture. First of all, maybe Dutch people are, in terms of communication, are quite direct. So they will say what they think right away and right in your face, so to say. So we have a kind of direct culture. That's one. Two, Dutch people are very tall. So the average length of a Dutch male student is about 190 or so. So Dutch people are very tall. So I expect a lot of tall people. And Dutch people like coziness. So they like to meet, and that's quite similar, I think, to the Mexican culture. The students love to eat together, drink together, party together, live together. So the campus life is really a kind of cozy life. I would call coziness one of the key features of the Dutch society. I also have to warn you that the Dutch foods are not very well known. And basically Dutch people tend to eat a lot of Italian food, French food, Mexican food, Chinese, Oriental foods, but Dutch eating culture is not that well developed, I have to admit. But on average, you can expect friendly people in a cozy city. And Groningen is really a cozy city. Maybe that's good. One thing to remark, we always have a kind of national survey of among our students, Dutch students, which city is the most attractive one. And then Groningen always scores very high, maybe position 1 or 2. And our rival city is the city of Amsterdam, basically, which you probably all know.
Perfectly, thank you. If there is a teacher interested in doing a stay, what options they have or they should have?
Excuse me, could you repeat what you said?
Yes, if there is a teacher interested in doing a stay, what option they have if a teacher.
Yeah, so I think if any student is interested in coming to the Netherlands, then it's always wise maybe first to check the web pages of the University of Groningen. On those web pages, you will find also data on our international office, and also, let's say, references to support that we can offer in coming to the Netherlands, and also information about financial matters, and also visa and all these kind of practicalities that you need to know as a student. So my first advice would be to check the websites, and then you can always send an email to one of the people listed over there at our international office. And we also have, and the other way, that's a very practical solution. Just visit the Groningen office on the campus of UNAM, and try to get information over there, because I think that's the most practical way to find the best information if you really want to go in person to the office.
Thank you, Doctor. Is it possible to study a master's degree and at the same time be able to work?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So you can work and study together. Actually, there is a lot of demands for students to work for private institutions, restaurants, for instance. So you see many University of Groningen students have a side job. And sometimes you need to be a bit careful, with what's allowed by your visa. Sometimes there are restrictions to the, let's say, the amount of money that you can legally earn, let's say, while being a student. But my guess would be that about 1/3 to maybe 1/2 of the students is really having a side job besides their studies. Yeah. And then you have to manage time. How much of your time you can devote to your studies, how much you can, how much hours you can work.
Okay, thank you. Is there any collaboration with companies in this regard, and does the government allow it?
Yeah. So we have many collaborations to corporations. Which have an affiliation also in many cases to the university. So if I speak from my own faculty in the economics and business, then we have even a special division of our faculty which can help students in, for instance, finding an internship, or to have a kind of short stay at a corporation. And so we really try to stimulate that from our university perspective. Yeah, so we really try to stimulate that. And I'm in monetary economics, so many of my students, I've gave them a kind of help in getting a kind of traineeship at a private bank. Some of my students also went to the central bank or to the Ministry of Finance. So there are many options available, especially I would say in the business sector.
Thank you, Doctor. This is awesome. I have other questions. What are the biggest challenges of living in the Netherlands?
Yeah, maybe the biggest challenge will be the weather. Yeah, so we are northwestern Europe, so expect, especially in the city of Groningen, we have it can be windy, it can be rainy. So if I talk to international students, they notice that the weather, if you come from Southern Europe, or you come from Latin America, or you come from Mexico, then the weather can be an issue because we have, you can compare the weather in Groningen maybe the best to the weather in the UK, and the UK is also known for being rainy and windy, and so we have a typical sea climate, which can be annoying sometimes, I would say. But so that's a challenge, and the second challenge I talked a bit about is maybe the foods. But for the rest, it's really good. No.
Perfectly. And okay, this is the last question. Okay, as students, can we approach the office that is on the UNAM campus?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so please go to Luis Andres, and you've seen the picture, and so the office is located in the wing where more international universities have their offices. But I can provide more information, I think, but by sending an email with the data, but probably yourself. So please feel free to go there and to talk to Luis Andres and to ask him anything that you would like to know about the University of Groningen, and he will be happy to help you. Yeah, he is employed basically by our university, but he knows, of course, UNAM very well. Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor. Well, unfortunately, we are running out of time, so I will read his certificate of appreciation. Can you? Yes, thank you.
Okay. Great. Yeah.
I read the National Autonomous University of Mexico Faculty of Accountancy and Management give this certificate appreciation to Dr. Elmer Sterken for his conference named Collaboration Possibilities in Central Europe. The case of the University of Groningen, given of 24th of September 2021 at the University City, Mexico City, signed by our director, Tomás Humberto Rubio Pérez. Thank you, Dr. Elmer Sterken.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was very nice talking to you, and I hope to see you all in Groningen. Yeah, or in Mexico. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye now.
Bye. And we would like to thank Mitzi Gomez and her team from the International Cooperation Department for the organization of this wonderful first international festival. And guys, this is the last day from the festival, so we invite you to join the 7 other conferences that they have prepared for you today. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Goodbye.